Hello, y'all. It's Brendan. Always wearing 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks. Today we got a really special video for you. Today we got a Seahawks versus Bills preview. Yes, this is a big game for the Seahawks, so let's get right into it. First of all, there was some news that happened recently with the Seahawks. A couple things. After we recorded the main podcast, go check that out. The Seahawks have made a trade with the Tennessee Titans. They are sending a fourth-round pick and Jerome Baker to the Titans in exchange for Ernest Jones, the linebacker. Great trade. I'll get more into that in a little bit, but great trade. More news: George Fant and Abe Lucas have both been designated to return to practice, which is huge news for that offensive line. Your starting right tackle and your backup right tackle both returning to practice. Huge news. Gives you a little more flexibility on that offensive line. And then, last bit of news, because of those two things, Mike Jarrell, the right tackle that started last week, is projected to still start this week. Lucas and Fant are probably not going to be ready to start this week. So Jarrell gets the nod again for the second week in a row at right tackle. Let's get back to that trade for Ernest Jones. I love it. I think this trade's fantastic. Ernest Jones is a perfect fit for this Mike Macdonald defense. Plays the Mike linebacker role, so the main middle linebacker. It comes and hits people, really puts the lay on people, which is what you want to see out of your linebacker. Has good coverage skills, can move, meets people at the point of attack, does all the things you want to see out of a linebacker. Obviously, trading Baker, who currently played the weak side linebacker position, leaves that unfilled. So Terrell Dotson's going to move over to that position. That's where he played with Buffalo. That's the position he played where he had the best year of his career. So I'm kind of hoping he is more comfortable in that position, plays a little better. All's good there. And then, obviously Ernest Jones coming into that middle linebacker position. I think this is huge. He's going to significantly improve the linebacker position for the Seahawks, which has been kind of a struggle lately. If you've watched the main pod, you've heard my displeasure with the linebacking crew. Missing tackles, missing responsibilities, all these things. I don't think Jones is going to have those issues. Comparatively speaking, Baker had an 18% missed tackle rate. Jones has a 7%. So take away half. Huge numbers right there. And Jones, 25, coming on the last year of his contract, traded from the Rams to the Titans earlier this year, and now from the Titans to the Seahawks. No worries there. The Rams traded him for the reason that they couldn't pay him, essentially. And now the Titans suck, so they're trading him to us to get some capital. This is huge. The Seahawks are likely going to re-sign him in the offseason. This is a long-term solution at the linebacker position. And you got a Rams player that the Rams didn't want to let go, which is just extra icing on the cake if you're a Seahawks fan, especially since Aaron Donald, when he retired, verbally came out and was like, it's now Ernest Jones' defense. So that's saying a lot. That one of the all-time greats at that defensive position has come out and essentially been like, he's a dude. So Ernest Jones, big upgrade. He's likely to play this week against the Bills, who he played last week so he was with the Titans, played the Bills last week, is now playing the Bills again. Huge information boost there for the Seahawks. That also helps his learning curve. It also helps that the Titans run a similar defense to Macdonald, because they have, I can't think of his name now, but their defensive coordinator worked with Macdonald in Baltimore, so they run a similar defense. So that'll really help him with the learning curve, everything, to be ready for the Bills on Sunday. So that's all good. And then Lucas Fant back at practice. Probably won't play this week. Lucas definitely won't play this week. He's out on the injury report. We'll get to that in a second. So Jarrell gets the start again. Really glad for him. Thought he played well last week. On to the injury report before we get anywhere else. As I said, Abe Lucas has been designated as out, so he will not see the field this week. No surprise there. He's been out since last year. He's going to need some time to get back going. They're shooting for him to be back after our bye, which is in 2 weeks. So we have this week the Rams and then the bye week. So he should be back after that. I don't remember who we play off the top of my head right now, but he should be back right after that. The main person on the injury report is we have DK Metcalf listed as doubtful, Cam Young doubtful, Trey Brown questionable, Mike Morris questionable, George Fant questionable, and Nehemiah Pritchett questionable. Obviously, no DK, not looking good for him to play. That's a huge loss. We'll get into that more in a little bit, but huge loss for the Seahawks if DK isn't good to play. Cam Young, rotational defensive tackle, should be okay if he's not in. Obviously, a good young talent, but the Seahawks can kind of get away without having him. And then Trey Brown, looking like he can be back for the Seahawks. One of their starting outside corners. That's huge. They already got one back in Tariq Woolen, which is really big for this defense. Obviously, they kind of need this defense to be fully healthy. So we're starting to get there. Mike Morris, another defensive lineman, rotational, not the biggest need. So we'll see there. George Fant, questionable. As I said, Mike Terrell's already been confirmed to start by McDonald, so not really sure if he's going to suit up, maybe be a backup in case something happens. Kind of wait and see. And then Nehemiah Pritchett, the rookie corner that's been starting the past couple of weeks, is also questionable. With the return of Woolen, there is some shifting that can be done, but obviously we want one of Trey Brown or Pritchett to go this week, so we'll see what happens there. Obviously, really want the whole defense to be healthy. And based on the fact that Trey Brown's questionable, Pritchett's questionable, they still have a shot to play. So that's huge. And I think they will. I think McDonald's come out and said Trey Brown's probably going to play and that Pritchett will probably just be the backup again. So the likelihood is not high. So that's good. On the Bills side of things, pretty short injury list of just who's out. I didn't pick up their whole list. But who's not playing? Terrell Bernard, their linebacker. This is big because they already are without Matt Milano, their other linebacker. So they're rocking with two backup linebackers, which is a huge thing. And then their defensive line, Dwayne Carter, and their wide receiver, Curtis Samuel, have also been ruled out. Terrell Bernard is really the big one there. Obviously, if you're without your two main linebackers, with the Seahawks having Ken Walker, Charbonnet, and Fant, who can all take advantage of pretty weak Noah Fant, the tight end, can all take advantage of pretty weak linebacking. That's big to not have your two main linebackers. So that could be a huge loss for the Bills here. So hopefully Seattle can kind of take advantage of that in the run game and the pass game. And then let's just get into the thoughts of the game. Obviously, it's a big game for the Seahawks. Big game. You're 4-3, coming off a huge win in Atlanta. The Bills are 5-2, but the Rams are starting to get healthy again. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have returned. They just beat the Vikings in a huge win on Thursday Night Football. So the Seahawks really need this one. They need this win. They need to keep the train rolling. And it's kind of unfortunate because they're without DK, and we've seen this offense kind of run through DK in a way. Obviously, this has happened before in DK's career where he's been hurt with a knee injury. didn't practice all week, which is what he's done, and then played on Sunday. Who knows? McDonald has come out and said that he's likely that he could still play, but it's not likely. So that's just something we're gonna have to wait and see till game day. That's a game time decision, and obviously, I'm hoping DK plays. But what that means for the Seahawks is JSN is going to get more reps, which I think is big. We want JSN getting reps. We want him getting better. Tyler Lockett's going to be huge again, like he always is. And that means one of Bobo or Chenault, LaVisca Chenault or Jake Bobo is going to have to come in and really put in some work. My money's on Bobo. They tend to lean more on Bobo if Metcalf's out. The one time Metcalf's missed a game in his career was last year, and Bobo ended up having a touchdown and a couple of really nice catches. So I'm kind of thinking if DK's out, we see JSN and Bobo kind of step up, and Lockett just kind of continues to be who he is. And then obviously you have Noah Fant, and then you have the run game to lean on. I'm really hoping they kind of lean on that run game as an offense. If DK's not in, obviously, if DK's in, then the offense is going to be at full strength. Obviously, against a pretty solid Bills defense. This Bills defense is good. They're built to stop the pass, though, so you can run on them. You can also throw the ball on them pretty well. They're 29th in the league in receptions given up. So, offensive line's going to be huge, though, too. They have pretty good defensive line there with Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa. Really good defensive line there, so the offensive line is going to have to be good. Obviously, Jarrell had a pretty soft landing against the Atlanta Falcons, who are last in the league in pressures. That's not what this is. He's got to be on his game going up against these teams. Thankfully, no Von Miller in the game because he was suspended. So the Seahawks don't really have to worry about that on that defensive line, but it's still going to be a big game. And this offensive line has to make some stuff happen. Keep Geno protected, create running gaps for Walker, do the things that the offensive line needs to do. I saw improvements last week, so let's hope that keeps going. And then obviously, in further weeks, we're going to start seeing that offensive line improve with the additions of Fant and Lucas. Defensively for the Seahawks, they're about as healthy as they can be. If Trey Brown and Pritchett both play, or if everyone was listed as questionable plays, yeah, if Trey Brown's the only starter that's questionable on that defense, and then you have two other projected week one starters that are both not playing, but that's Jenkins and Nwosu, who are both on IR. The way Kobe Bryant's been playing, I'm not worried about the Jenkins thing. Jenkins has been kind of off and on. Bryant played really well last week and has been pretty solid this season as a whole. So we'll see there. Obviously, big game for the defense too. Trying to limit Josh Allen in that high flying offense, especially now that they have Amari Cooper. But yeah, only two of the projected starters are actually going to be fully out. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Trey Brown. But yeah, so this defense is finally fully healthy. We saw what happened last week. 14 points allowed to a pretty good Falcons offense. So we'll see there. Obviously, big game ahead for the defense. They've got to limit Josh Allen. They've got to limit Amari Cooper. James Cook can beat you on the ground. With a fully healthy defensive line and a fully healthy defense, with Woolen covering probably Amari Cooper the whole game, Brown and Witherspoon kind of just picking up the slack, and whoever else, the Bills receiving core is not great. Beyond Amari Cooper now, we have Shakir and Coleman, but I'm not worried about those two. So just if the run defense can be good against a team that's not great at running the football, then the defense should be set up for success. And And it kind of brings me to what I think the keys to our win is. The keys for the Seahawks to win. I think the main one is if you look at what Josh Allen's doing this year, he has not turned the ball over at all. He has 0 interceptions, and I'm pretty sure he has 0 fumbles. He might have 1 fumble for a loss, but he's not turned the ball over. He's not doing that this year. Obviously, that's not something he's been good at his whole career, which is weird that he's all of a sudden just flipped the switch. No turnovers. Obviously, I think this is going to return to the mean, which is essentially he's going to start turning the ball over again. So if Seattle can start creating the turnovers on the Bills, I think they'll be in a really good position. So win the turnover battle. Gino just has to limit the turnovers on the offensive side. No silly mistakes from the kick and punt return. No silly mistakes from wide receivers, running backs, anything like that. No Gino interceptions. Limit those and create turnovers on the other side. And the Seahawks will be in a really good position to win this football game. Part of that is obviously winning the turnovers. You have to keep Josh Allen off the field. He can beat you every time he gets the ball in his hands. With elite deep ball, can move, is mobile. The Seahawks struggled against Daniel Jones, who was the most mobile quarterback they've played so far. He kind of ran all over him. So Daniel Jones is not the athlete Josh Allen is, but they're kind of similar in terms of build, strength, all that. So the Seahawks really need to be on their game defending against a mobile quarterback, which is hard, and that's what Allen's good at. But you gotta limit him. You gotta keep him off the field. That means long drives on offense. It means limiting them on defense. Playing your game, doing everything to win, doing all the little things that lead to winning. That's what I'm looking for here. So yeah, and some just little stats here. The Bills are the third worst team in the NFL in 3-and-out percentage. They go 3-and-out more than most teams in the NFL, other than the Patriots and the Raiders. So let's force some 3-and-outs out here. Let's keep them off the field, get the offense the ball, get the offense rolling, win the time of possession, get Ken Walker going. That's the big one. Kenneth Walker has to get going. We've seen Kenneth Walker 2 touchdowns last week, won the game. In weeks that Walker gets going, the Seahawks do well. It's not complicated. You need a good run game, so that they can win the time of possession. If you keep getting 3-and-outs, you've limited Josh Allen's big plays. You've limited him. That's big. You need to limit Josh Allen. This Bills offense runs through Allen. And we've seen he's not doing well this season in terms of completing passes. Like, he never has in his career. But with the lack of turnovers, you don't notice it as much. But they're going 3-and-out at the third highest rate. And they are still winning games as a offense because all it takes is one big Josh Allen play. He can beat you in one play. And that's what they've got to do. They've got to just limit that. That's kind of how the Bills are beating people. Is they're going 3-0, they're not sustaining drives, but Allen has one big play, and that sparks the whole drive. If you can limit that, you should be able to limit this Bills defense. Look to what the Ravens did. The Ravens had a lot of success. That's McDonald's old team with a coordinator that worked under him. Watch that film, see what they did, see what they had success with, and let's boogie. Let's beat this team. Obviously, I think the Seahawks can win this game. I know it's going to be a really close game, hard-fought game, and I'm not delusional. The Seahawks could very easily lose this game as well. This is to me, this is a game Seattle should lose. Looking at it objectively, the Bills are a better team, better quarterback. They're playing better football right now, but we've seen what the Seahawks team can do. And I know that if Geno Smith is on his game, this defense is playing how they should play under McDonald. Anything is possible for this team. And limiting Josh Allen is definitely possible. This defensive line has a chance. Obviously, the Bills have a really solid O-line with Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown bookending it as tackles, but you can still beat this team. They've shown they're not great. They lost to the Ravens. The Ravens are really good, though. They've struggled against the Jets at one point. They were struggling against the Titans. They were down 10-0 to the Titans. And then they stormed back and won that game. Like, the Bills have struggled this year. The week prior, they only beat the Jets 23-20. The Jets are not a good team. So yeah, you go 10 down to the Titans. You barely beat the Jets 23-20. They have not been playing their best football. They lost to the Texans, where Josh Allen had probably the worst game of his career, going for like 30. He passed for like nothing that game. He was terrible. He was terrible. 30% completion? Like, what are you doing? If the Seahawks can really take advantage of that, then this team can do something. Obviously, it's a big game for the Seahawks. Big game. Also a big game for the Bills. But the Bills have a strong lead in their division. The Seahawks do not. This means more for the Seahawks, and that tends to mean they're going to play harder. They just know the importance. They need to get on it. This game kind of says Seahawks win to me. You look at it, Seahawks are at home. The fans are rejuvenated after a win. The Rams just won. The Seahawks have pressure in the division. The Bills, not a great game against the Titans, but beat them handedly. Winning a bad game from yourself, but beating somebody handedly is not good for a team. It's not. It doesn't make you learn anything. You're still on that high from winning. It's not the best way to win. You still have. They are leading their division handedly. Not even close. This kind of screams to me Seahawks can pull this game off. They can be the underdog. They can get this game and win. I'm really excited for this game. Obviously, that kind of does it though. Like, I'm not really having much more to talk about. I'm excited for this game. I'll watch it. You'll get my reaction on the main podcast at Flocksness Podcast. If you're watching this, that'll be out Wednesday. If you're just a fan of the show, Dallas also did a preview for Ravens Browns this week. I'll have that as well in the description. You can check that out. Be much appreciated. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. I want Seahawks fans to outdo the Ravens fans. I want more Seahawks fans. Guys, let's win. More likes, more comments. We got this. Beat those other birds. They don't matter. But yeah, go check out that other video though. Seriously, give it some love. Be much appreciated. So like, subscribe, comment. See you.